I was at Moorhead, Kentucky, spoke one night, and I could tell the students, I was about 5 or 6 of them, and they were scared to witness. And I said, well, why don't you go to the men's dorm, knock on the doors, get them to come down the lobby, and I'll share with them. And then you can see the ones interested and follow them to the room and witness to them. So they said, okay. So I went over to the dorm at 10 o'clock, and there were people all over the place. I couldn't believe it. And I said to one of these guys, how'd you get all these people here? He said, well, we just knocked on the door and told them to come down to the lobby. We're having a dorm meeting. You tell them the nature of the meeting? He said, no, we just told them it's a dorm meeting. Well, this was on Monday night. Finals were to start Wednesday morning. They thought the dorm master had called a meeting, and if you broke your window or something, didn't check out, you couldn't. So they thought it was a compulsory meeting. And I thought, I don't believe God likes to use deceptive means. So I got up and said, fellas, if you were deceived in the reason you're here tonight, you can leave right now. It won't hurt my feeling, but I want to tell you before you leave, if you stay for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you how Jesus Christ changed my life and how it changed your life. And before you leave, I want you to know, if Jesus doesn't change your life, you're going to mess up your life. And someday you're going to marry a girl and you're going to mess up her life, and you're going to have kids and mess up their life. So if you want to leave, go ahead. Nobody. So I shared the gospel again. 10 to 20 minutes, I said, if you're not interested in talking further about becoming a Christian, please leave so I can talk with those who are. And they looked around and nobody left. Wow. So I said, let me go over this one more time. And I went over the gospel again. Still nobody would leave. And I finally said, guys, you can sit here all night if you want to. I'm not going to cheapen the gospel to get any one of you to say you'd become a Christian. Because as I understand it, when you ask Christ to come into your life, he will come in. Mm-hmm. But he's going to be working on you the rest of your life to try to get you to be the person you want to be. Now, if you want to come and ask Christ to come in your life, he promised he would. Now, Romans 10:13 says, whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord will be saved. Now, so I opened it, my Bible, laid it on the floor, and I said, that whosoever means you. If you want to be saved, come put your finger on that whosoever. They began to gather around. Pretty soon you couldn't even get close to the Bible. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happened the next day. I was having a little witnessing clinic. People were coming in. I said, go to the girls' dorm and ask the dorm mom if I can speak. She said, there's no way you'll speak. She'll let you speak in her dorm. So I go over there. Now, this is Tuesday night. Final start the next morning. That invited the girls from one dorm to come to the other. Girls all over the place, sitting on the floor. So I began to share the gospel. One girl began to cry. Then another girl. And I thought, I don't want this to be some emotional meeting. So I just closed it in prayer. And I said, if you're interested in talking further about becoming a Christian, go down to the basement, place down there, and I'll meet you there. Well, I thought a lot of the girls leave, and they started going down the hall, the basement, girls all over the place. And then I looked at my watch. I was supposed to be in the dorm. I hadn't been in the night before. So I ran over there, same thing. Guys all over the place. And there's one chair vacant in front with guys standing around the wall. And as I was speaking, a guy came in behind, walked right by me and stared at me. And he said, listen, I'm an atheist. He said, I got here kind of late tonight. It's one thing I want to do. What do you have to do to be saved? I said, you can be saved anywhere, anytime you're willing to ask Jesus Christ to come into your life. And as best you know how, turn your life over to him. He said, man, I'd do anything. So we knelt and prayed. We stood up, and he began to share his testimony. I noticed a guy on his knees over. I went over to him. He was either a golfer, tennis coach. Started talking with him, and this atheist, who had been an atheist, started sharing his testimony. He said, guys, you all know what a clown I've been, but I'm not a clowning tonight. Why don't you come give your life to Jesus?
Wow.
Now, I found out later, one of the boys told me, a week earlier, this atheist that had a meeting, gotten the guys down in the dorm, had stood up on the piano, and he'd had a mock religious service. And one of the boys said he had mocked Jesus Christ. So that night when he walked in and walked by me and just stared and sat down in that chair, he thought somebody's stealing my bag of tricks. And he hadn't been there but just a moment till God got a hold of his heart. So God did an amazing thing. I went on, not all schools at the same time. I went on to Tennessee Tech, met there. I was usually on a campus about 3 or 4 days and speak to the group, take those that wanted to out to witness, try to help them have a quiet time, start memorizing verses. The last night I was there, I met with about 5 guys that were most interested. I said, guys, you may be interested in walking with God while I'm here, but if you don't get in the Word, if you don't begin to get God's Word in your heart, you won't make it. I said, now this summer, I've got to work to go to school. Why don't we move to some city? We'll get jobs. At night, we'll read the Bible, pray, we'll memorize verses. I'll teach you everything I know about God. And so we talked about that. And I met with him 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to leave, catch a bus at 5. I knew if I laid down, I'd never catch that bus. So I went on to Ridgecrest. While I was there was a man by the name of Waylon Moore. And a friend said, you know, I went to Baylor with this guy, I went to seminary, and he works with Billy Graham. So he's going to be speaking to my students. Would you like to come? So I went over there that day, and he began to tell us about Dawson Trotman. He said Dawson was a guy, and he'd have guys to live with him. At night, they'd read the Bible and pray, and he'd teach them everything he knew about God. I could not believe it. It's just like almost a tape recording of what I'd said. At that time, I knew immediately what I needed to give the rest of my life to, what I'd been trying to do, and this was just a confirmation. So that's kind of the story of how I got started.